Hello, Dr. Chevy. My name is Janet Del Corro, and for my research critique, I selected the article titled Increasing Social Interactions of Preschool Children with Autism Through Cooperative Outdoor Play by Ms. Sanja M.T. Ziegler and Dr. Michael J. Morier. As the title suggests, the authors are trying to find a relationship between structured social play and an increase in social interactions between children of neurotypical development and children who have been diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. I selected this research article because I'm an ESC program specialist at a school in Miami-Dade County, and our school's ESC program specifically specializes in children with autism. All of our students with ASD have social skills goals on their individualized educational plans because it's common knowledge in our world, I guess in our educational world, that children on the spectrum characteristically have social skills deficits that include the inability or difficulty to initiate or engage socially with their peers. I was very interested in the findings of this study because I'm passionate about helping address our ASD students' developmental delays and would love to find ways to help them meet their social skills goals in order to prepare them for social interactions outside of the educational setting. The researchers set out to study the results of early intervention on the social development of students with autism. They cited previous research that has shown that incorporating structured interventions into social leisure time or other play activities can be a successful approach to improve the social interactions between children who are ASD and their neurotypical peers. However, research previously conducted targeted a very limited number of elementary age children. Procedural weaknesses in previous studies included activities that were too difficult for the children to replicate or entirely inappropriate in terms of the demands that were placed on the neurotypical peers. For example, to successfully participate in this study, the NTD peers had to essentially take on a role of teacher to get their ASD peers to cooperate or to imitate them. So Ziegler and Morier created a structured play curriculum called the Buddy Games that was designed to overcome the limitations of previous studies which had been deemed inappropriate, both developmentally and procedurally. Additionally, their target population was preschool children in lieu of elementary school age children. The Buddy Game curriculum uses common nursery rhymes and songs that are accompanied by hand gestures or movements that are familiar to preschool age children and are considered easy to imitate. The researchers set out to implement this structured social curriculum during recess at a preschool to determine if there was an increase in social bids from children who are ASD to their NTD peers. Social bids, for the purposes of this study, was defined by the researchers as a child with ASD making a clear, noticeable, and evident attempt to communicate with a non-ASD peer through spoken or gestured means. After collecting baseline data, the data collectors observed the target participant for 120-second intervals, and they recorded the frequency of the received and initiated social bids. At the end of the 120-second interval, the researchers took a 30-second break to find the next target participant on their list and adjust their location as necessary, and then they'd restart the timer and they would collect the data of the next target participant. And this went on for approximately 15 minutes of the 45-minute recess block. The researchers also wanted to study the effects of the Buddy Games intervention on generalization and maintenance. And for these phases of the study, the data was collected in much of the same way, though the locations varied, as the generalization and maintenance phases were observed within different play areas within the preschool setting. The results of the study indicate that there was an overall significant increase in discrete social bids from children who are ASD to their NTD peers, their neurotypically developing peers, and all three preschool classrooms that were tested during the implementation of the intervention, the Buddy Games. The researchers also collected data to test generalization. However, the results were mixed across the 3 classrooms. Participants with ASD in pre-kindergarten demonstrated significant generalization during center time, and participants in preschool demonstrated some generalization during free play. But kids in early preschool classroom did not demonstrate generalization, as their average number of social bids did not increase above baseline data. Additionally, the maintenance phase did not show promise, as only the students in pre-kindergarten classroom demonstrated an average number of discrete social bids that was above baseline during this phase. As an educator of children with autism, I'm very encouraged by the findings that indicate that a structured play curriculum may improve social deficits of a child on the spectrum during the intervention phase. However, the limitations of this study make me question the accuracy of the frequency data. The researchers did indicate in the article that the data collectors were not blind to the conditions of the study, which could potentially result in data collector bias. Additionally, there was a very limited window of observation for each participant, specifically 120-second intervals, which make me question the accuracy of the frequency data. I also feel that the intervention phase was not long enough, in my opinion, to accurately measure generalization, which may have led to the mixed results that the researchers encountered during the generalization phase and the overall failure in the maintenance phase of the study. There are a few things that I would change if I were to conduct this study again. In my opinion, one major limitation of the study, which was not addressed by the researchers, is the limited sampling size and geographical location of the target population. As a program specialist who specializes in children with autism, I've personally witnessed how a student's socioeconomic background sometimes directly impacts the type and frequency of interventions that they're provided, which may include, especially important for the results of the study, private behavioral therapy. Because these additional private interventions may impact a child's ability to generalize what they're learning, I would ensure, if I were to conduct the study again, to capture a wider sampling in terms of geographical location of students with autism, to ensure that the sampling captures different socioeconomic backgrounds. I would also change the length of the observation interval. The researchers did describe this as a limitation in their study, and I think it's important to address this limitation to ensure the accuracy of the frequency data collected. I would assign one data collector to each participant for the 15-minute window of the buddy games and collect frequency data on each participant for the entirety of the 15-minute window. I would also change the length of the intervention phase. The researchers moved from the intervention to the maintenance phase after the participants had demonstrated an increase in initiating social bids from the baseline data collected for 3 consecutive days. And I think that concluding the intervention at this point was premature. As an educator, in my experience, a successful intervention or intervention that proves to be successful should be applied for months, not days. I would go as far as to say that this type of social intervention should have been considered a staple of the recess block for the entire school year if the researchers hope to truly see success in the generalization and maintenance phases. Lastly, I would also ensure that the data collectors go into the study blind to the parameters of my research. I would also assign data collectors to participants at random without divulging which of the participants is ASD and which is NTD to try to eliminate data collector bias. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I look forward to your feedback.